Once upon a time, the stories say that gods walked among us. They shaped us, taught us, gave us gardens, cities, and laws. And then something happened. The world changed. The gods vanished. Their gifts collapsed, and we were left holding fragments, ruins we couldn't rebuild, knowledge we couldn't decode, stories we couldn't explain. Maybe they were gods. Maybe they were something else. Travelers, engineers, a species with tools so advanced we mistook them for miracles. For a moment, things were good, but then came the fall. Civilization didn't vanish. It rebooted, slowly, painfully, from scratch. All that survived were myths. Lilith flying from the garden, floods swallowing the world, angels descending in fire. Legends, yes, but also echoes, shadows of a history we're not supposed to remember. Tonight we pull at one of those threads. Her name is Lilith. She's called Demon, Destroyer, First Woman, Forgotten Wife of Adam. But what if she's something else? A discarded prototype, a rebel experiment, the first exile of humanity. Chapter 1: Creation and Equality. The official story most people know starts in Eden. Adam is molded from dust, a divine experiment. Then comes Lilith, created not after him, not from him, but with him. Equal. Same dust, same moment. Sounds progressive, right? Equality in Genesis. Except it didn't last long. Lilith didn't like being told what to do. When Adam demanded dominance, she said no. She refused to bow, refused to be lesser, and that's where the trouble starts. From the religious lens, this is a morality tale. Submission was expected. She didn't comply, so she was punished. But let's ask the question nobody asks. Why dust? Why rib? If you had technology to seed life, would you really scoop mud like a child with a bucket? Even with today's synthetic biology, we need sequencing labs, DNA printers, incubators. CRISPR doesn't run on dust. So maybe dust was just shorthand. Ancient people watched a process they couldn't understand, and dust of the earth became their poetry for raw material. And Lilith, equal at first, then rejected? If we read it like a lab report instead of scripture, she looks like a prototype, one that didn't accept the parameters. Today, we'd call that a failed build. And Eden, it got called sin. Chapter 2: The Refusal and the Flight. The fight between Adam and Lilith is the hinge of the story. Adam says, "Lie beneath me." Lilith says, "Why should I? We are equal." And then she walks out. Or maybe not just walks. Some texts say she flew out of the garden. Flew. And right there, our imagination paints wings. Angels, feathers, a woman rising into the night sky. But step back a second. Why wings? Because ancient people had no other concept of flight? To them, flying meant feathers? But to us, flying means aircraft. Rockets. Shuttles. So here's the question. When the text says, she flew, is that poetry? Or is it a garbled translation of something technological? Imagine Lilith stepping into a small craft, the hatch closing, a low hum filling the air. To a Bronze Age witness, what else could you call it? She rose, she vanished, she flew. Mainstream tradition insists she fled in shame, cast out for her rebellion. But maybe, and this is just a whisper, maybe she wasn't running at all. Maybe she was leaving on her own terms. Maybe the first exile wasn't a curse, but a launch. Chapter 3: Demonization and the Lilith Traditions. After her departure, Lilith doesn't just vanish from the record, she mutates. In the alphabet of Ben Sira, she becomes a baby-stealing demon, a night terror crouching at the edge of the cradle. She's the dangerous woman, the warning story. That's the religious spin. Turn the rebel into the villain. If she wouldn't submit, she must be dangerous. But here's the irreverent take. Isn't that exactly what happens in societies all the time? The woman who won't comply gets rewritten as unstable, immoral, and dangerous. From witches to hysterics to the way media frames outspoken women today, demonization is just the same old playbook. And if we soften the alien engineer lens over this, it looks like a containment narrative, a way to scare the survivors. Don't question the program, don't rebel, or you'll end up like her, hunted, cursed, erased. Whether myth or propaganda, Lilith became the shadow in the corner, a reminder that the first woman didn't just obey, she left. And maybe she left with more knowledge than she was supposed to. Chapter 4: Echoes Across Cultures. Lilith isn't a one-off. She has cousins. In Mesopotamia, Ulitu, storm spirits, winged, associated with the night. In Sumer, Lamashtu, the child stealer. In Greece, Lamia, the devourer. Across cultures, the same dark feminine figures stalk the myths. Mainstream historians chalk it up to archetypes, shared human fears about childbirth, sexuality, and mortality. Fair enough, but doesn't it feel like more than coincidence that so many cultures described winged women, exiles, and destroyers, always tied to knowledge, rebellion, or punishment? If the visitors once walked among us, if civilization collapsed and rebooted, then these stories could be fragments, shards of a broken mirror. Each culture picks up a different shard, sees a different reflection, but the source was one event, long ago, filtered through memory and myth. Lilith, Lamashtu, Lamia, echoes of the same exile, a story so shocking it burned itself into every mythology, long after the technology was gone. Chapter 5: Legacy and What It Means Now. Today, Lilith has been reclaimed. She's no longer just a demon of the night. She's a feminist icon, a symbol of independence, the first woman who refused to kneel. Her name graces magazines, songs, and festivals. But if we peel back the layers, she's also something else, a riddle about our beginnings. If she was a prototype, if flight meant something more mechanical than wings, then the story of Lilith is not just theology, it's lost history. Modern science is starting to circle back. Cloning, CRISPR, artificial wombs, artificial intelligence. We're stumbling toward the same experiments. And the question is, are we repeating the cycle? Will our own prototypes someday walk away, branded rebels or demons by their creators? In the end, Lilith's legacy is bigger than religion or folklore. She's a reminder that the official story is always written by the winners. And the truth, the strange, uncomfortable, possibly extraterrestrial truth, still lingers in the shadows, hiding behind words like flu. Was she a demon? A rebel? A prototype? Or just the first human who decided she wouldn't be controlled? That's the question. And maybe that's why her story survived, because deep down, it's still our story too. What if the veil of myth is hiding something real?